Hello and welcome to the Yesterday's Gone launch party. We are live, we are here, and it is 8 o'clock on Monday night, the day that Yesterday's Gone episodes came out. I'm here with
Woohoo!
my co-author, Sean Platt.
Hey, hey. Um, yeah, let's get this party started. First, I just want to say I want to thank everybody who already bought the season, and well, actually, I want to thank everybody for being patient with us because we're definitely trying something new this time, and Dave's already explained all this in the email, but uh, we went exclusive with Amazon for a 3-month period because it's really the only way that we can actively compete right now. And it's like Redbox or Netflix, that little window of time where there's some exclusivity before it goes wider. And we just had to capitalize on this at that time. So if you're on Kobo or Nook or Apple, we wanted to give you that chance to get it straight from our site direct, which I think was really awesome. But there was that hiccup. So our member download links weren't working, which was the software, the platform that we use. It decided to break on the day that we went live, which is just that's how these things work. So that was really balls and really terrible, and we're really sorry. But anybody who bought Yesterday's Gone season 5 from us directly, if you check that your same members area now, you also have a story called Cursed. The first 4 episodes of that story, it's kind of a it's like a man-hunted shapeshifter type of story, and you'll dig it. It's very dry and scary and good. But anyway, that was just our thank you for being patient with us while we figure out links and get them to work. So sorry there was a hiccup, and I hope you like Cursed.
Oh, you didn't give him Space Shuttle? What's wrong with you?
Space Shuttle, in case you don't know, is Dave's most hated thing that I've ever done without him. It's a comedy. It's Taxi in space, and it's really funny. But
To be fair, I haven't even read it yet.
yet, the implication there that you will someday.
Someday.
Yeah,
Someday.
Dave will never, ever, ever read Space Shuttle, but it's okay. He wouldn't like it even if he did read it.
I had a
Um,
feeling if I was ever caught by terrorist extremists, they would put me in a cell and put me in with an ebook that only had Space Shuttle on it.
no, they would pipe in Carrot Top reading it to you.
Oh, better yet.
That's what they would do. But no, he would hate Space Shuttle, but he would actually really like Cursed. So you're in good hands with that. It's out of all the stuff that we have over at the Realm and Sands imprint, Cursed is definitely the one that we thought goners would like most. It's just a scary story. And Dave actually saved us from the first title. It was originally called Chupacabra Outlaw, which that was it.
Sounds
It
like
was
Space Shuttle.
yeah, right. It was a little first, and when we wrote it, it ended up not being zany at all. It was very serious and dark, and so that title just didn't fit at all. And Dave very wisely talked us out of that title and into Cursed, which is much, much more fitting. So anyway, enough about Cursed. Let's talk about Yesterday's Gone
I do
season
want to
5.
say if anybody has any questions or comments, go ahead and leave them in the YouTube comments of the video you're watching, or on Google Plus. I'm watching both of those.
Oh, can I see those? Do I just see them on the Google Plus page?
You might be able to on the Google Plus page.
We can't see them here though, right? Like in
I
this
tried to enable the Q&A, and it says this
this
feature is
feature is
not.
disabled.
Yeah.
Why does Google hate us so much? Like they're just
They read Space Shuttle, that's why.
oh, that's probably it. That actually makes perfect sense.
So if anybody has any questions, please don't leave spoilers for the prior seasons, or if you've already read this one. Had a couple people email saying they've already read this whole season already, which is pretty damn awesome. So
That is awesome and wow. I don't know that I could read that fast. Oh wait.
well, I
Um,
mean, they had it since last week, not just today. So they got
oh,
it
that's
directly
true.
from us, I'm guessing, unless they're speed readers.
Okay, I can see this now, but I don't see questions. Okay, cool. That's cool. Okay, so until we get questions, do you want to talk about what you enjoyed. No, 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 it's Dave. Let's talk about what you didn't enjoy about
What I
writing this
hated
season
least.
first. Yeah, what you hated least. Yes, that's the perfect way to phrase it. What did you hate least about Yesterday's Gone season 5?
Well, I before we started it, I was worried. I worry about everything before I get into it. I was worried that all the usual worries I have before I start a book, like it won't be good enough. It won't be able to balance, characters and action well enough. All the usual things that I care and think about when I go into writing a book. I worry about those, and I also worry about like technical stuff, like timelines matching up and making sure everything is consistent with the prior seasons, all of that stuff. And I'm glad to say that it wasn't nearly as tricky as I'd feared it would be. Um, I do think, yeah, season 3 still is the hardest thing I think we've ever written. Just
Yeah.
balancing the multiple timelines and the
Well, that whole end
extra
part where
character.
everybody had to get at the same place at the same time when they hadn't been, they'd been so spread out for, I don't think that's a spoiler, right? But at
Not
the end of season 3, we kind of just the goal at the end of season 3 was to wrap everything up so that people who wanted kind of a conclusion around the first, because Yesterday's Gone really is in two halves, I guess. Seasons 1 through 3 kind of tell a story, and then it gets flipped, and now we're telling the other side of that story, and what happens after. And so, by the end of season 3, we really wanted to give some sense of finality and conclusion for people who wanted to stop right there, hoping that people wouldn't want to, right? And there was a lot of maneuvering that had to be done, and as with always with that kind of stuff, Dave does the heavy lifting, and so there was a lot of machinations that had to happen there. But and 4 was weird because with 4 it was just kind of coming back, and the world wasn't as warm yet because we'd already kind of closed it with 3. But this was just coming back, and this was a weird season because we had to build on everything that had already come before and really, really set everything up for season 6. But it had to stay on its own. It had to stand tall and proud and be its own thing, and it couldn't rest on, oh, Yesterday's Gone's been awesome for 4 seasons, so this one just has to coast until season 6, which really matters. We had to up the stakes on everything. We had to deliver on everything, and build for season 6, and that was a lot to do. But that kind of stuff, Dave and I are like the sun and the moon, really. And the more I don't know, timid Dave is about something, the more excited I am about it usually, which is funny. But yeah, I thought there was a lot to do with the season, but I was excited to do it, and I'm already just so excited about season 6. If I was gonna do anything right now, it would. No, actually, it's not true. If I was gonna do anything right now, it would probably be White Space season 3. Then Yesterday's Gone season 6. Like, and
That's
those are the two hardest things that we would have right now. Um,
yeah,
what are
that's
you
the
gonna
one
say?
I'm most timid to write right now is White Space season 3.
Yeah. See, but the more, I don't know, I'm just wired that way. The scarier something is, the more I want to like punch it in its dick. I just want to conquer it. I want to like, I did that. We did that. And White Space is, I don't know. I just have so much affection for White Space. I really, really love those characters and that story. And Yesterday's Gone, I love the world. I love the building. I love all the tension, and there's just so much about it. And Baricio is my favorite character across everything we've ever done. Like me and Dave and me and anybody else. Like Baricio is my favorite character. Period.
It's
And
not Brent Foster.
it's not Brent Foster, and I will miss Baricio for sure.
Hey, you just ruined that he got killed.
Oh yeah.
I'm kidding.
When Yesterday's Gone is done, I will miss that character a lot. But what's different about White's what?
You don't have to miss him. We're going to spin off in that children's series, remember?
What would Baricio do?
Yes.
What would Baricio do would make a fine picture book, actually. um, but with White Space, I love I love the whole cast. Like I really, really, really like that cast of characters. But what was the biggest surprise of season 5? What? Because really, when we start anything, any project, any season of Yesterday's Gone, but any project really, we have some rough ideas, and most of the story is found in story meetings and then in the drafts. We're very loose outliners, and we find the story as we get through it. And so there's always a ton of surprises. Some of the best twists and turns and cliffhangers are things that we do not know until the moments in our story meetings. So I guess that's hard to do.
Well, without spoiling it, I will say the biggest surprise is who one of the bad guys are and what happens because of that. Both of those are very great surprises.
Yeah.
Although readers may think differently.
No, I can't imagine.
I mean, they might like one part of it, but not the other part.
Well, one was just you being mean. Let's be honest.
Right.
You're such a masochistic writer. But just to make you guys feel better, Dave hates himself as much as you guys, so he's punishing him too.
More than. Actually, this is my way of teaching people not to love our work. Like, you like something we're doing? Okay, I'm going to destroy it.
Yeah, that's what he did. That was his sole purpose with Crash, was to see if he could just get the entire audience to turn on us. But it didn't work. You know what? It's because it was short. If it had been a longer work,
also he took out the part with Hitler in it.
Well, that was only at our editor's insistence.
Yeah.
He said
he said Hitler cannot be a hero, and I said, well, we want to make this a despicable book.
Are you really going to run with this joke? You're really going to keep going with the Hitler stuff?
It's late.
Yeah, but late for you is early.
Well, no, I've been waking up early, unfortunately. So.
Oh, how long has it been? Are you on your 3rd week?
This is my 3rd week, so I should go off the rails at any moment now.
Is this the longest you've been waking up in the day?
Since I've worked a real job, yes.
Wow, that's pretty awesome. Have you started your NutriBullet yet?
One thing at a time.
You should do that.
It'll be like week 92 of me waking up.
I watched a movie. Not that we want to do. Well, actually, unless we have questions. Yeah, we don't. All right. So I watched a movie that you should watch, and it's called Hungry for Change, and it's all about have you ever seen Food Inc. or read Fast Food Nation or anything like that?
Both. I've read both and seen both.
Okay, so it's kind of a piggyback off of that a little bit, where it's just it's basically people talking about everything that's wrong with modern food, and but what's interesting is that the main narrator, the guy that I really liked,
fat guy eating Oreos.
No, but he used to be.
What's wrong with him?
I didn't know it until the end of until towards the end where they showed a lot of before pictures. But he was just talking. He was just like a really, really healthy looking guy and really articulate. And you know how like I just love articulate people, right? So this movie didn't have anything that I hadn't seen before, but I really liked the specific ways these people were articulating. And this guy was just really chatty, and at the very end he started showing pictures of what he used to look like, and he used to be over 400 pounds.
Oh.
And now he's just like, he's pretty built.
We've lost 3 viewers since you started this story.
Oh, that's awesome. Is that true? Is that a true statement? Yes. Oh, wow. All right, well, let's
gain one back. Okay.
Yay, success. So anyway, I just some of the things that the guy said, I think that you would relate to, and that they would touch you, because he talks about how desperately he wanted to lose weight, and he's a disciplined guy. He's like, I'm a disciplined guy, and I couldn't get why I did. I would lose 10 pounds, and then I would gain 15. I would lose 10 and gain 15, and it was just because psychologically your brain it tricks you. Your brain wants to protect you. It wants to heal you, and it
Keep you
thinks that
fat.
it's doing the right thing. Yeah. So anyway, it was really interesting, but it made me laugh because the whole end, like they didn't talk about the NutriBullet at all. But by the time they got to the end, it could have been an infomercial for the NutriBullet because they were
Probably is.
talking about the benefits of consuming a lot of fruits and vegetables like
See,
that. It
I've
made,
seen the NutriBullet infomercials, and that makes me not want to use it.
oh, I've never seen one. Are they hilarious?
They're just they make it seem really. Never mind. I won't go off on a rant.
Because you don't want to lose another 3 viewers.
Yeah.
So we don't
So
have any. Yeah,
what?
I was gonna say we don't have any questions.
Let me check on that again. It's taken forever for comments to show up on the Google Plus page.
That's because Google hates us. That's because they read Space Shuttle and they know you're not using your NutriBullet.
Yeah. I don't think we have any. Nobody gives a shit. Nobody cares.
Oh, that's cool. You want to call it a night?
Okay, so probably because we just talk about it ad nauseum on SVP. Nobody has questions. Anybody that's listening. So
They're all done with us.
yeah. So what would you say? Since I wrote most of the rough draft, and I changed some stuff up from our story meetings, can you say what surprised you most that I changed without giving anything away?
Well, there's two problems with that. A, I think anything that I came up with would be spoilery, but I think that also by the end, there's something really magical about our process, and by the end, I really lose track. I lose track of everything. Like I don't know what was born in a story meeting, what was born in the rough. Especially I know it when I'm doing like the edit and the polish, but by the last time when I just pretty much read it through and made a couple of changes, but it was mostly a read. At that point, like I don't know. It's not. I'm not exactly just a reader, but kinda. I am enjoying it on that level, and at that point it's soup. I'm not really sure which idea was born when. Like I can remember specific moments, but I also don't remember what necessarily was changed off course because it just feels like a story to me at that point, which is a really good thing. Like that's because I think if otherwise it'd be easier for readers to see the seams, and I think our stuff reads very seamlessly because of that blend. But I'm trying to think. I will say that some of the stuff that was born in a story meeting, the way it was articulated was really, really pleasing. I love the stuff with Max Torino, which like that. There's no spoiler there, so I can like that's a good one to talk about because I don't worry about a spoiler, whatever. But we had talked about this actor that we needed to have this scene, and it's one of the longer scenes in the book. There's two. I think it's one of two long scenes. The very first one is pretty long, and then this scene is pretty long. Collective Inkwell chapters tend to be a little on the short side, and which is good. It makes it feel like a page turner, and this scene it takes its time, and it sets everything up so well. And I love how you wrote this actor, and I love how Marina responded to the actor, and then I loved Ed's response at the end of the scene. Like it all just fit so well, and it felt really believable. And it was just one of those scenes that would have been really enjoyable to watch. And for me, like that's when I like reading the most, is when I feel like I can really, really picture it, and I could see it as a movie, and I could see every single scene of this movie. I knew what this guy's house looked like. I knew what his smile looked like. I knew what his cocky little bullshit was like, and I could feel Marina too in that scene. I could feel the way that she was both intimidated but really intent on holding her space, and I thought she did that well. And I don't know, I really love that scene, and I know it's not a typical, it's not like the back of the truck scene in season 3, which is just brilliant on a whole different plane. This was just more like, this was almost like the everyday like bullshit that people have to deal with, right? When it's the Coen brothers, right? The Coen brothers are so good at this. They always, in half their movies, I bet, they have a scene with a guy behind a desk who has all the power, and somebody else has to come into that room and be kind of a supplicant to their power. And this was that scene, where
We kind of did that twice in this season, also with Mary at the quote company picnic.
Yes, yes, and I love that scene for the exact same reason. The stuff with the like, my wife, Cindy, has been in these situations, like, and I think most men have. It's just a little different. But that cattiness, like, that was very, very, very well captured. And I think both of those are really good examples of scenes that were pretty straightforward in the story meetings, but so just perfectly articulated. Like, they really just came together well. They were perfect manifestations of what we were talking about. And I think what's awesome about scenes like that is that they feel so real that when the unreal stuff happens, it feels real too. And I think that's, I don't know, that's special. It makes perhaps a silly book into something that's much more real and much more tangible.
We do have some comments coming in.
Are they about the NutriBullet?
Okay. I'm trying to figure out if this is a question, if this person, Terry McMillan asks, so I'm wondering about the character that Luca couldn't save. Will that be addressed? I was surprised to see him back. I'm trying. Is she talking about season 3 or 4 or 5?
I don't know.
If you can answer that, if you're still watching, because there's a couple things you could be talking about here. So,
man, it's hard to dance around spoilers too.
Yeah. Terry also said Crasher's fantastic, heartbreaking but fantastic. I bawled my eyes out. Awesome.
Oh, that's what Dave wants.
Yes. MG on.
Your pain is his pleasure.
Yes. Hey, dudes. Fun to see you on a Monday, no less. Wow.
Hey, MG on.
Garrett says, why do you kill Mauricio in the new season? Yeah.
Because he deserved to die. It was his time.
One of my favorite scenes this season is actually the very first scene in the book. Well, there's two scenes that stand out. But one is Luca on the high dive board. I like that a lot because I like what happens. I also like the scene with the father that goes to school to pick up his daughter.
Oh, yeah, that was that was dark, but
yeah,
really good. There was a couple lines in there too that just make you wonder about Dave. And there was like, this isn't spoilery, but it's the way that the way this character reacts to the situation is pretty hilarious. But hilarious isn't a word that you should use in this scene, which is almost what makes it so good. I think one of the things that makes Mauricio really work as a character, this isn't a Mauricio scene at all, but there is a parallel here. One of the things that makes Mauricio work as a character is that he disarms you.
With a smile.
Right, like there's stuff that should just be totally. I got it. Is that Cherub Rock or
no, disarm?
Disarm. Oh yeah. All right. Damn it. Oh yeah. So he disarms you with a smile. There's stuff that should just be heinous. Like there should be right, but you find yourself laughing along, and that's the best ever when we get emails from 74-year-old grandmas who are like digging Mauricio, because they made her laugh. And I think that humor is an incredible, incredible tool in that way. And Dave is an incredible tool.
Thanks.
You're welcome. And Dave is
Has
really
or is?
it has and is. Um, but he's also one of the funniest guys that I know, and that like he doesn't want to write straight humor, and perhaps he's right about that. But putting humor into these very dark situations is awesome. It's fantastic. And there's a couple of moments, a couple of notes in this scene where the guy goes to pick up his daughter. It's a very, very dark scene. It's possibly the darkest in the season, for its specific character.
No, it's not.
Yeah. It's pretty
It's
bad.
prolonged darkness, but there are darker things that happen.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair. Um, but it's violent and it's unexpected and it's all the stuff that makes Dave so cuddly. But there's a couple of moments of pure humor. Like you'll probably laugh. You'll probably laugh a couple of times during this otherwise horrific scene, and that's just great storytelling. And that's the kind of stuff I can take no credit for that. Like that's just me getting through the copy, and like I laugh when I read it, and that's magical. It's awesome. It's a good story.
Speaking of older people liking our stuff, I had an email exchange earlier today with a woman in a nursing home who reads all of our stuff, and I was
That's awesome.
surprised. I was like, that's and especially because she's cursing in her emails. So I'm like, that's fucking awesome.
Well, you gotta know, dude. There are people who like curse and stuff, and they get old. Like, how do they entertain themselves?
And I know, and I know, I've always liked older people and gotten along with them, and they've always been cool with me. And my son is the same way. But I still have like, whenever I hear that, like whenever I meet somebody that is older and they want to know about what I do, I don't want to tell them about the book just because I have this feeling, because so many older people are more conservative. They're more easily offended by the language we use, and like so whenever I see somebody that is like older and loves our shit, that's awesome. It makes me feel happy.
No,
'Cause I feel like I have to apologize to everybody else.
No, I actually feel the same way, and
You don't
it's
want to
true.
it's
No,
really
yeah, it's totally true. But I'm getting over that because it is funny. Like my parents are officially older now, but they also grew up. I mean, I only like the stuff I like because they used to leave it on their nightstand. I read Stephen King. I started reading I read The Talisman when I was 8 years old, and it was because my mom was reading The Talisman. So like I grew up on Stephen King because they had every Stephen King book in the house. And so like it's not that they grew out of that, like they still like that stuff, but now they're in their late 60s actually. No, my mom's in her late 60s, my dad's mid 60s. But that's, it's getting a little bit older. And but I think 74, that was the coolest. The lady who was 74 who was like, I just love Mauricio. I know I shouldn't, but I just love him. That's an awesome email.
We do have a question here. Michelle Osborne
Hi, Michelle.
asks, as a reader, there are characters I identify with or characters that are my favorites to read in their POVs. Do you guys have favorite characters to write besides Mauricio?
Yeah, you go first though. Is this across all books or just in
Well,
in
I mean,
Yesterday's
we
Gone?
can take it across books. It's not like we have a plethora of questions to answer. So let's go across. For Yesterday's Gone, I wrote a little more Mauricio this season than I did in prior, and that was fun. I also like writing Ed Keenan because he's a pretty kick-ass character, and I like writing Brent even though he's kind of whiny. But I do like writing, and I like writing their scenes together. Just the whole juxtaposition of these two different guys that couldn't be more different, yet they kind of have to get along. I enjoy that. For other books,
You used to like, I mean, back in earlier seasons, you liked writing Will a lot.
oh yeah, Will was my favorite, but I can't write Will anymore. Yeah.
I don't know if I don't know how many people know this, but when yesterday's this is totally changed now that we're farther along. But when Yesterday's Gone first started, we actually had the characters divided, and Dave would write Dave character chapters, and I would write Sean character chapters. And Dave was Brent, and Ed, and who was the third?
Charlie Wilkins,
Oh, that's right, Charlie.
who I did like writing a lot too.
Oh, that's right, Charlie. And then we had
Wow, I kill off so many people that I like. I should
Beware,
really consider that.
family and friends. Yeah, and I was Mauricio, Luca, and then the Warson Woods crew, which was Mary, but also Desmond and Paula and John and Jimmy at the very beginning. And Jimmy, named after my high school best friend, actually.
Imaginary friend.
But as time went on, we just blended things a lot more. But I always really liked, of course, Mauricio was my favorite from the moment his feet hit the wood floor and he said beer battered bullshit, and I just kind of felt who the guy was, and I wanted to know more about him. He made me very, very curious in a way that few characters have, and I always really liked writing Luca also, and I like the growth of Luca. And Luca, out of all the Yesterday's Gone season, there's only one episode that I wish we could tweak a little bit, and that's the very, very first episode. The one everybody starts with. And that's because we didn't really know what we were doing. We didn't know what we had, and we were just kind of making it up as we went along. So there were all these, really disparate elements that we ended up melding, I think, very well, and really massaged them over 5 seasons now. But when they started, we were writing in a vacuum and we didn't know. But early on, there were criticisms of Luca's language, that he was a little too infantile. But that was very intentional. That wasn't an accident. I wish that, not that I had rewritten that part to make him different, but I wish I had done more to clarify the why behind it. Because Luca was written about, like, my son was the same age as Luca. And my son is articulate and chatty and all of that. But when he gets little, when he feels alone or when he feels scared, he gets really infantile. And Luca did the same thing. And so Luca, people were asking if Luca was special and all kinds of stuff, which I totally understand. But that's what my son did. And so. But I always really liked writing Luca a lot. Across all our series, I really like writing John Conway in Whitespace. I really like writing Cassie a lot. Cassidy in Whitespace.
And we've both written her.
Yeah, we've both written her. We've both written John. I know Dave really likes writing Hauser, also in Whitespace. But yeah, those. I think the storyline is really, really, really cool. In Whitespace, but it's the characters that get me in that one. Like, I just want to spend more time with them. I want to know what happens to them. I want to put them in horrible situations and watch them figure it out. But John and Cass and Mauricio are probably my 3 favorite to write. Am I forgetting story? I liked Monstrous with that we did with 47 North. I really liked writing both Henry and the demon guy. Booth, yeah. He was a lot of fun to write. And I also liked that we didn't swear with Booth. We did some really cool things with him where he was a wily son of a bitch, but we didn't. It's like the opposite of Mauricio. Mauricio has the most colorful way of swearing of any character that I've ever read. And Booth doesn't use any 4-letter words, and we still found ways to be very clever in his articulation, and that was a lot of fun too.
Yeah, Yeah, I agree with you on the main characters, other than what I've already said. I mean, I like writing Noella from For Nevermore.
Oh,
Uh,
I like Noella too.
Basically, any character I've written, I like. I'm trying to think. I'm sure there's got to be something I'm glad it's over and done. I didn't.
You know what? You know what's a good question is what character do you wish you could dig deeper in? Because I know for me, I'd like to dig deeper into Dante. Like I think that Dante is a character that we've just kind of brushed the surface of, and I feel like we could go a lot deeper there. You know, when we get deeper into that story. But Dante would probably be off the top of my head
That's
the
from For
one
Nevermore.
from For Nevermore. Um, you know, I'm curious about who he is and what makes him tick, and we've only scratched the surface there. It feels like I mean, by nature of that story, we spent so much more time with Noella.
Yeah. I think I want to write about Abigail more
I
from
was gonna say Abigail. Yeah, Abigail.
that
Uh-huh.
and also our main character from The Watcher, Frank Grimm. And
Oh yeah,
that
Frank
will
Grimm.
eventually come, but yeah.
Yeah, Abigail's interesting because she was always a little more interesting than John. You
Yeah,
know,
our main character.
right? And it was because I mean, we're not. I don't want to give too many spoilers there, but Dave, in true character, did some horrible things to that little girl. He put her through hell, and it was interesting to see who she blossomed into as a result of the hell that Dave put her through.
Yeah,
Um,
and and the main character in that story starts off with the disadvantage of being an amnesiac in the beginning, so he's kind of a blank slate until we learn more about him. But even then, like his brother and other characters sort of kind of dictate what happens to him. I think we change it a little bit up in the second season where he has, you know,
oh yeah, definitely, definitely. But still, even then, Abigail's scenes just.
yeah, I like Abigail and Larry actually, and
I like Larry a lot. Larry's a great character.
so I would totally spin those two off into a separate book or series or something, if possible. I don't know. We'll see what happens with the third season. They
And the third season should actually be coming up relatively soon, um, and that'll be fun. Actually, that'll be the second series that we kind of close up a little bit too, which will be cool. Although it may go sideways, and there also may or may not be intersections between the For Nevermore and Available Darkness worlds too. There's well, I should stop talking about that actually, but yeah.
yeah.
More
Checking.
questions?
Yeah, I'm checking. Hold on. Nothing new yet. So
So how about that local sports team?
that local sports team sucks, man.
Did you know my son cried at Derek Jeter's last game?
I
That's
don't
all
know
there
what to
is to
say
that
to that.
story. Yeah,
I
that's the
want to
whole
insult
story.
him, but I won't. So.
No, see, but that's Luca. Like he takes things very, very personally. He's
Yeah,
sweet. He's a tender
I've
kid.
cried at a sporting event or two myself, so I can't make fun.
Well, he's well. What Luca was 8 in the first one?
Yes.
Yeah, and that was 3 years ago, right? Yeah. So uh, Luca was a year older than Ethan at the time. Ethan was 7, but Ethan's 10 now. So um, uh, too old to cry at Derek Jeter's last game, that's for sure.
Like he's
Just
like,
kidding, Ethan. When you see this someday, I'm proud of you, buddy. He actually looked up the other day. He found this old video of him, um, where it was back in the Writer Dad days, and I had told a joke that he had made about poop, And it was really, really funny, and I didn't want to give him the credit for it because I didn't want to encourage it.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted him to know someday that it was awesome, so I recorded a video telling him that the poop joke was awesome. But it was.
Does he remember the poop joke?
Yeah, he totally does. No, but only because of the video.
Oh.
It triggered the memory. But it was because he said, it's such a stupid joke, but he was a way better joke teller when he was like 4 than he is now. But he said
His joke telling prowess isn't quite up there.
no, they're terrible. He's the worst joke teller ever. Like the worst. His jokes are actually physically painful.
They're almost as bad as Space Shuttle. He should write the next Space Shuttle.
Space Shuttle's awesome, but Ethan's jokes are terrible. And his sister is his sister Haley is 2.5 years older, and she has no mercy whatsoever. She'll say like that's the stupidest thing anyone's ever said, Ethan. She's
sucks, man.
Yeah, just no mercy whatsoever. But anyway, this joke was pretty awesome. He said, yeah, I asked him what he had for lunch. This was kindergarten, so he was 5. I asked him what they had for lunch, and he said, they gave us poop on a cracker. And I said, they didn't give you poop on a cracker. They couldn't give you poop on a cracker. He said, no, they gave us poop on a cracker. So I'm asking him questions about the poop on a cracker, and he says, I'm just kidding. And then he waits one perfect beat. Oh wait, I'm doing an Ethan style joke. I'm messing this totally up. This was all about Monday. On Monday they gave us poop on a cracker. On Monday they gave us poop on a cracker. Then at the very end he says, I'm just kidding. He waits the perfect beat and he said it was Tuesday. And it was pretty awesome. But
now I see where Ethan gets his joke telling from. Michelle Osborne said, I cried at Jeter's last game too.
Yeah, there you go. It was actually his last home game that really got to him. He said, in his words, I was a man during his last game because he didn't cry, but he cried like a little bitch during the home
video for him too.
Oh, you know I will. I know Haley's sneaking and watching all of our Better Off Deads in the middle of the night. I just know it.
No wonder
so
she loves me.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, Dave and my daughter sat next to each other at a Dave has never, despite working together pretty much every day for 6 years now, Dave has only met my family for the first time last month. We had this thing called the Story World Builder Summit, and it was really, really cool. And he came out to Austin, and we were having this fancy dinner at this restaurant that Dave just absolutely hated, called I don't even remember what it was called, but basically, yeah, they basically it was a churrascaria.
I was close.
They basically bring you. It was a Brazilian steakhouse, and they basically bring meat on swords. In like a never-ending procession, like the meat never stops. And Dave said, "I want to have meat from. I'll only eat chicken." So our other partner Johnny and I went over there before Dave came into Austin to make sure they had chicken. And they're like, "Oh yeah, we have chicken." Right. So so they had 14 kinds of meat, but 3 kinds of chicken.
No, okay. 2 kinds of chicken.
No. They had 3. One was wrapped in bacon. Okay, one was wrapped in bacon. One was totally covered in Parmesan, like just like a snowball's worth of Parmesan. And then the third was like they're like this big. If you're on YouTube, you can.
Nobody brought me the Parmesan one. I would have eaten that.
Oh.
Not offered that.
Oh, well, okay. Well, they probably just thought, stay away from him. He's angry.
Stuff that looked like elephant balls. I mean, it was huge.
It was all like filet, and it was delicious. If you like meat, the place was amazing. It was really, really great. But anyway, the whole time, Dave and Haley sat next to each other, and Dave was trying to ruin her childhood. She's so sunny and optimistic, she just wasn't having it. It was pretty awesome.
Trying to ruin her childhood. Being myself.
Explain the difference to me.
I don't know. Okay, we got some clarification. Okay, the character was killed where the prophet was, and when Luca was saving this guy was not even thought of. Luca was saving girls. I asked if it's connected to the pregnancy. Does that help to clarify? Okay, yeah. Uh, uh, we do address if you're asking about what happened to Mary's baby. Yeah, that's addressed. We actually addressed it in season 4 a little bit.
And more in 5. And man, things just happen to Mary. Like
She lost the baby.
she's just not a lucky lady. And yeah, that I don't want to talk anymore about that.
We're horrible, horrible people for what.
Yeah, yeah. There's some terrible
There's
stuff.
something about Mary.
There is something about Mary. She has to suffer through some bad stuff.
She's our Job.
But yeah. But I'm really, really, really looking forward to Mary in season 6. She's she's ready to. I think it's gonna be. I mean, we don't know. We have very, very raw ideas for season 6, but we do know it'll be the Mary and Mauricio show, like pretty much. And
You shouldn't even say that. Now people know they at least live.
well, no, it could be the ghost of Mauricio. Okay,
The
all
ghost
right,
of Mauricio passed.
all right. Anybody reading knows that if Mauricio does pass, it will have to be season 6. No, he's got to graduate. But that doesn't mean we don't put him through absolute hell. Because it wouldn't be Yesterday's Gone without every character going through hell.
Yeah, I don't think there is anybody that gets out without some sort of torment or another.
No, which is good. It's almost like that's what makes you know who the characters are. Uh, and that's just good fiction. That's good storytelling. It's to kind of put your characters through the ringer. And one of the things with Inkwell, it's not just about being scary. It really is about looking into the depths of humanity's evil, to kind of figure out. It's a facing your fears kind of thing. And I think, I don't know. It's these are not extraordinary people who are put into these situations. They're people, and that's what makes them. That's what makes it hit home. That's what makes it feel like it's much easier to put yourself in that place. And even when the people are somewhat extraordinary, like John Conway is a billionaire actor, right? Ed Keenan is a super agent. But still, if you look at what Ed Keenan is actually worried about from the very first moment we meet him, it's the relationship with his daughter, and that's a very real thing that and John Conway, the very first thing that we're in his head is this relationship from when he grew up, and the relationships that form us all. And it's those character, I think, touchstones that make the characters worth caring about and make their stories actually have gravity.
Okay, we do have a clarification. Terry wrote on Google Plus saying, "Did I miss when you brought somebody back from the end of season 2? I thought Luca couldn't save him." So I won't say who she's talking about, but the person that does save Mary and Paula in season 4. And yes, we address how that came to be.
Yeah, and that's all good stuff. And it's weird to talk about this like outside of a story meeting where anything goes. Worrying about what's said, like spoilers are there. It makes the conversation hard. I don't want to ruin anything for people, but it's hard to talk around a little bit.
The comments on YouTube are a mess. Like I'll see some and then they disappear, but they're.
Let me see if I can see them. Oh, I just got this on Facebook. Hey guys, watching your live show now, but cannot comment or ask questions.
Okay.
It keeps loading and loading forever. I don't know if anyone else is having this problem. Anyhow, just wanted to say I love you both and all your writings and tell you White Space is my favorite and looking forward to that. Thank you, Rose. That's very, very sweet. Yeah, we're looking forward to White Space also.
You know what the weird thing is about writing so many things? It's that we tend to get email regarding the thing that we're not getting to right away, like for Nevermore was like such a far way off a season 2 for that, and I would get email like constantly from like a small minority of people that really love for Nevermore. When's the next for Nevermore? When's the next for Nevermore?
Yeah.
And I would keep having to say, well, we're trying to fit it in because trying to fit it in. So now now that we've got for Nevermore on the schedule. Now I'm starting to hear more white space, like all the time now. It's a white space, white space, white space. So like they can never write fast enough to keep everybody happy.
Well, one of the things that I'd say this was probably a mistake, but maybe not. Like it was just trial by fire. Like we're characters in our story too, right? And we opened too many boxes the first year. We were so excited. We were, oh my God, we're writing fiction for a living. This is the most awesome thing ever. So we had 5 franchises, and then we signed with 47 North. And that wasn't something that we were going to say no to. It seemed like the right opportunity at the right time. And they wanted not 1, but 2 of our stories. So we said, well, if 1 is awesome, then 2 is twice as awesome, right? And I don't think that we really took the time to consider the impact that would have on our schedule, or on, even more importantly, the number of open boxes we now have. And so,
because, it wasn't a matter of cycling through everything. Suddenly, we had deadlines for Z. It wasn't enough to get Z2134 out. Z2135 and Z2136 had to be written within a certain time frame. So that meant other stuff got bumped out of the way that would have been written in that time frame instead.
Right. So all of a sudden it wasn't right. We signed for 2 and ended up fulfilling 4. And fulfilling those 4 within a 2-year period. And that's 4 that would be White Space Season 3, Available Darkness Season 3, for Nevermore Season 2, and more Dark Crossings. Like, there you go. That's where it all went. But we closed the box with Z, which is awesome, and we'll close the box with Available Darkness Season 3 soon. And, Yesterday's Gone Season 6, that'll close next year. And that really, really opens up a lot of space for us, which is great because we want to do Frank Grimm stuff. We want to do.
I've got like 5 other series I want to write.
Yeah, me too. And it's
you too. You got like 19 with Johnny. How many more things can you?
No. I mean specifically with the Inkwell. There's so much Inkwell stuff that I would love to do. And the funny thing is with the Inkwell, I have to specifically ban myself from ideas because I know they'll just sit there and not go anywhere, and so that's hard. And I finally
slow.
I finally broke down and developed something pretty recently, just on kind of a whim. Because I want to give Inkwell its attention. I love the Inkwell. The Inkwell is the very first imprint we ever had, and it's very special to me. And so I wanted to feed it attention, and I feel like where you put your attention is the things that grow. And so it's very important to me that I always give Inkwell its fair share of attention. And so I gave it attention, and now there's this kind of fleshed out thing, and I have no idea when we'll get to it because there's just so much stuff. And like I could literally do several of those a year, and I don't know, like there's such ideas are so cheap. And what I've always found is that Dave and I can really start talking about anything, even an idea that Dave hates. Like, we really only need to start talking about it for half an hour, and he can start warming up because he'll find the right angle. He'll find the thing that's interesting to him about that idea, and then it just goes in a totally other direction. And we just have to close boxes. It'll feel really, really cool to close White Space. I mean, to close Available Darkness, close Yesterday's Gone, add to White Space. 2015 should be a really, really fantastic year for the Inkwell.
We just need more time. We need like a time machine where we can like pause time and just write.
Like Evie. Write. Did you ever watch that show?
What?
No. Okay. It was called Out of This World, and the main character, commenters back me up here. I know I'm not the only one who watched this. It was in
Isn't
very
that
early
cheesy
90s
show
'88.
with like a
Yes,
teenager and an alien? It
yes,
looked
and Burt
awful. I
Reynolds
would
was the
not
dad.
watch that if you paid me.
All right, well, I'm just younger enough to you than I was a kid. All
So
right.
there's no excuse.
No, I do have an excuse. I was like 8 or something.
Sucky. That's still too old.
Fuck you. It was awesome for 8 because I always wanted to do that. I wanted to freeze time. Yes, it was a terrible show, but I'm not gonna lie. There were times when I did this to see what would happen.
There's times where I did this too.
Well, it was
See what
it.
happened.
It never worked for me.
Well, in
But
fairness, I never watched the show. I couldn't get past the intro, so maybe it got good after that.
no, it never ever got good ever. Um, but I liked the premise. That's
Well,
all.
I watched soap operas when I was a kid, so
I would watch soap
they're pretty
operas.
lame.
Soap operas are pretty good.
Some are good, some are like I tried watching one a couple of years ago, just to see if they were as good as I remember, or if they've gotten worse. And they were one I watched,
I imagine they had to have gotten worse.
but some were good. Like I watched Santa Barbara, General Hospital, Days of Our Lives, and back in the day, those were pretty damn good.
Yeah, but look how great TV has become in the meantime, right? Like TV's not as there's so many more options. Why would you choose that? By the
Well,
way,
it was on during the day, and I was home from school, so it wasn't like I had. It wasn't like I had. Well, I could watch Breaking Bad or Days of Our Lives. Which one am I going to watch?
this is actually funny. My dad texted me this morning, and I thought the text was from you. Um,
It was full of rage.
well, no, I don't know. It was because he was. I talked to him last week, and he was talking about Gotham. And he
I
was
have to
talking.
watch that.
Well, I thought it was you texting me that you had finally started watching it, right? And uh, uh, so he was talking about Gotham and telling me how much I would like it, and I'm like, yeah, I don't watch TV shows until there's at least a season in the bag. Like, I don't want to watch them week to week, and I don't want to. Um, and everything gets canceled. So I don't want to start anything that I don't know for sure that there's going to be follow through, and there's too much other awesome stuff to watch. He's like, but you love Batman. Batman's your favorite. Like, this just ticks all the boxes. It's great. And I said, yeah, but I'm just going to feel like
It's not Batman though.
yeah, I feel like, well, I like all those characters. Like, I like what they're doing. Did you know that they actually pitched that before Smallville as a Bruce Wayne backstory type thing, and the WB passed on it and did Smallville, and it took like however many years, 13, 14
It's
years.
probably good that they did though.
Yeah, I agree.
Shit job on it back then.
Um,
Smallville
but
was okay.
I liked Smallville for the first few seasons. But anyway, I was having this conversation with him, and I just said, I'm spoiled. Network shows are just never as good as cable shows, and there are shows that are good.
That's not true.
There are shows that are even great. But every time now I'm watching a network show, I'm like, yeah, this would be cooler if it was on cable. And especially something like Gotham. I just know it's not going to be the Breaking Bad. It's going to be like, name a show that wouldn't be improved on cable.
Lost.
Well, Lost is also like long since retired, and
Okay. Well, it's
I mean a show right now.
Person of Interest. Although they would change one thing on Person of Interest that I think would make it better, in that they would stop shooting people in the kneecaps and they would just like kill them. Should. I hate that about the show. Everything else I love.
All right, but even that's something. It's like I always feel like I feel like shows have to pull their punches. They just have more advertisers to answer to. It makes I understand what the problem is, but I always, even if I really like a show, you'll make fun of me. I know you will, and that's fine. But I watched Parenthood, which like I like that.
That was fine. I saw it once. It was all right.
I think that show really nails family dynamics and the way like everyone talks over each other, and I just really like it. I think the dialogue's really
They nailed
strong.
your family dynamic.
Oh yeah, they totally. And in fact, the main characters on that, Adam and Christina, it's the guy from 6 Feet Under, and and his wife. I've never seen a couple on TV that I identify more with. Like Cindy and I are very much like the way when they've fought on TV, like that's how we fight. That's how Cindy and I fight, or just like Adam and Christina Braverman. Like that's how we fight. In case you wanted, guys out there wanted to know how I fight with my wife, that's it. And
I'm surprised anybody's still watching right now.
and
It's supposed to be about Yesterday's Gone.
And so I really like that show, but it would be so much better if it was on cable. The conversation language would be a little bit more real, and I miss that. Like I feel like I'm watching a good show that falls short of being great because it's a network show. And so anyway, I was talking to my dad about Gotham, and I'm like, and I felt like such a cunt. Like I was taking the wind out of his sails. He just wanted me to be all into Gotham, and I just wanted to be like, yeah, it's gonna be awesome. And I voiced my complaint, and I said, okay, well, I'll watch it later. Well, Haley really wants to watch Gotham. So I said, okay, we'll watch it. My dad wants me to watch Gotham. Haley wants to watch Gotham.
And they had their first full frontal nudity scene.
And that is something that's cool. Network, I feel a little safer sharing it with Haley, so that's cool. We're at the end of season 5 of Lost, which has been fantastic watching it with her. And you're right, I couldn't share that with her on cable because it would do things just a little bit beyond what I'm comfortable sharing with her right now. But Gotham was great in that context, but it's still like every single scene I'm thinking this would just be a little bit cooler. And so when my dad texted me this morning, he was saying that he started re-watching it from the beginning and was watching them over, but I missed the re-watching part. And I thought it was you saying that you had started watching it. And it was like
Gotham?
Gotham. Yeah.
He just started. How is he rewatching it already?
He's my dad. I don't know. He's rewatching
the first 2 episodes over and over.
It's like on episode 5, but yeah, he started them over. But this was like 5:30 this morning, and he sent it last night while I was sleeping. And like I wake up to texts from you sometimes. It makes sense that if somebody sent me a text in the middle of the night, it would be you. And I see it, and I just assume it's you. So I reply without thinking, yeah, I wish that bullshit was on cable. And I gave him like a whole ranty email, and I pressed send, and I'm like, oh. And I knew it as soon as I sent it, and I'm like, what a dick. Like now I feel like I have to work a phone call to my dad into the schedule because I want to like
just send him this video.
Say sorry. Oh man. So anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Are we done with this dog and pony show then? Do we have questions?
Yeah, I'm checking.
Not about Parenthood or the NutriBullet. If you have questions about the NutriBullet.
We did this like a week after we released it, so people actually have time to have read it to ask questions.
That's actually a good idea.
It's difficult to talk about. Like every question we have asked or answered is like.
But still, it would even be a spoiler thing. You know what would be actually kind of cool? To go ahead and do one that's spoilers, and then actually what I like. What if we did a conversation a couple weeks after the book came out? Mm-hmm. And it could have spoilers and stuff in it, and then we just like for new editions of the book, like we could link to that conversation. At the last page of the book, you just finished this book. If you want to see a conversation about it, go here, and people could go and see the video of the conversation that happened a couple weeks later. I'll do this again. If you guys out there, you want us to do this again. Well, Dave's like, I don't know.
I'll do it. I think a cooler thing to do also would be to get questions ahead of time, because yes. I got quite a few emails today after we sent out the thing that said, they won't be able to watch live. Can we watch it after the fact on YouTube? So yeah, we can do that, and people can watch on their own schedule. But if we get the questions ahead of time, it'll be a lot easier. Then we don't have to talk about Parenthood for half an hour.
Yeah, I like that idea a lot. I'll totally do this again, like a Yesterday's Gone Unboxed type of thing. I'd actually really like that. I love talking about the story. You
love talking about anything though.
Well, that's true, but I hate talking around spoilers. It makes it like I feel unsure of everything I'm going to say.
Yeah, but I wouldn't feel comfortable doing a spoiler show like the day it came out on Amazon.
Yeah, no.
Like, nobody's gonna watch it, or B, if they do watch it, they're gonna be pretty pissed off when they.
Yeah. How we killed I like a couple. I like doing it a couple weeks later. I think that's cool. So we should figure out a time in that. And when you send tomorrow's email, we can mention that we're going to do that
We're
soon.
sending another email tomorrow.
Yes, you never listen to me. That's because I talk too much, I realize. But yes, tomorrow's just to let people know about this video and to let people who bought Yesterday's Gone on the site that they have cursed there, and just so they know to check their members area. And um,
Okay. I think that email can wait till next week, but okay, we can do that.
oh, that's fine. Next week is
Yeah,
fine.
I hate emailing like 3 times in a week. That's like crazy.
Yeah, that's totally fine. But we can also um, let them know that we're going to do a spoiler-rich episode when people are done. So that's cool.
Okay, all right, and we'll also. I think we should come up. Yeah, we'll also ask for questions in that email, and also set up a website or a post on one of our websites, and you can also leave questions there if you don't want to email them. Um, so yeah, okay. So I think we're done.
All
Yeah,
right.
we're done. Okay, we're over.
Wow, that was awesome.
Thank you to everybody who did watch live and who asked questions. We do appreciate you taking the time, and we hope you've enjoy or are enjoying the book, or going to enjoy Yesterday's Gone season 5. And it looks like we will do another episode in a couple weeks where we'll talk about all the crazy shit that happened.
Yeah, thanks for being goners.
Thank you. Bye.